A good laugh is sunshine in the house. A quote allegedly from William Hairpiece Thackeray. Did Thackeray really say that? Was his middle name really Hairpiece? Welcome to the croaky, throaty, chesty coffee, slightly under the weather travel channel. What do you do when you're still feeling a bit rough after a few days? Oh, you keep taking the medicine, keep resting, and get on with a bit of work. As you can see, I'm just burning or exporting a video. It's taken the best part of 2 hours. I've had to re-plug in the battery because the laptop was dying. Yep, doesn't hold the charge long enough, even if you start off with nearly 100%. Not a bad laptop, but this video editing malarkey, it really does take up the juice. Speaking of which, Bronco plant. Well, the jury's still out on the Bronco plant Icelandic moss syrup. I'm not expecting a verdict anytime soon. It might take a few days before I really feel the benefit of this curious potential remedy. The good news is I'm not feeling too bad, apart from the irritation of the coughing and slight tight chest, and as I'm not straining myself and haven't done for the last couple of days, just taking things easy means, I feel almost as good as new. Almost. However, you feel it when you try walking up stairs. So I'm still using the elevator, and I'm only going out once a day, frankly, just to do minimal filming and to get food in. That's the main purpose of my short day trips. Very lucky that I booked quite a few nights here. Although that said, the whole idea wasn't to explore and cover Lviv on this trip. It's the long road to Ukraine. I've reached Ukraine, and now it's an onward road to meet up with my friends. The good news here is, yes, it's finally finished. The video is ready. I can upload it to the walkie-talkie traveler YouTube. Creator Studio, I think they call it, although I hardly consider my horrendous lack of skills makes me a creator. Oh well. Feels as though I've achieved something today, even if I feel such a lazy hound. You know, it's difficult when you've been out walking hours and hours and hours on end, day after day, feeling as though you're achieving something, being productive, and not being a lazy hound, to suddenly health issues forcing you to become a lazy hound. I should continue being a lazy hound, but I might take you along for a little walk I have in mind, which is a roundabout way to the Arsene supermarket, which at the moment is the front runner for my favourite supermarket in Lviv. But, you know, early days in the race. One big cough later, I'm ready to go out. Turning left, you may have noticed. And this is in completely the wrong direction for the supermarket I'm going to visit. However, I just thought that, like me, you too would be interested in seeing a little bit more of the street where the hostel is and of the city centre itself. So I'm just going a little bit out of my way. Fake bird up there, fake crow, made me think of Krakow. I know I said there are similarities, but they're the only two places where I've seen fake birds being placed to presumably put other birds off landing on ledges. Who knows the science behind this, but presumably it works. So maybe you too will have a fake bird on your window ledge in the future. Well, isn't this interesting? Not the cantor, although it might be. But the round windows, and then what a clash of styles. Crikey. I'd love to know the history of this building because it's obviously undergone quite a change. The facade, at least. Well, it looks as though there may be a church in there. What do you think? Does it look church-like to you? I'm not at all sure. I'm going to go in and have a look, though. I'm curious enough. 14th to 17th, 18th century, and I think it's been jiggered around with quite a lot, also in the 20th century. I'm guessing these are grave markers. This one from 1896, perhaps? Crikey. Crikey. Oh, here we go. This is the Armenian Cathedral of the Mother of God's Assumption. Well, to be honest, this is a reminder. Yeah, I did see that was coming up, in theory. But I wasn't expecting it to come up so soon and to look so completely unexpected. So there have been Armenians in Lviv for at least, well, for over 700 years. Wonder how many are left? Or how many descendants of the original settlers are still here? Gosh, quite a lot of changes, eh? And is that, yeah, it's more about practicality of modern day life and putting pipes in rather than an archaeological dig. I see. Needed to make a quick adjustment in there because once you're actually inside the cathedral, not only are there more quite monumental renovations going on by the looks of things, there is also a clear sign which adds no cameras to the list of no this and no that. So I switched the camera off and got the heckety heck out of there. Now you see, this is more like the scale of what I was expecting. But I'm lying, actually. I wasn't expecting something this huge. But if you'd told me this is the Armenian Cathedral, I would have gone along with it, probably. Although I would have expected a more sort of squat building, if that isn't a rude word to apply to a place where people go to pray. Down one of these streets, it may well be this one or the next one, there is a performing arts theatre. I've seen pictures of the inside and it looks sumptuous. It's named after a lady, Maria someone or other. Wouldn't it be great to have access to time-lapse video of buildings over centuries to see how they've changed? And this guy, well, that must be a weight, but he's kind of making light of it, isn't he? Only using the one hand, as if to say, yeah, I got this. From the late 18th century. Thought it might be earlier, actually. Shows how little I know. I saw something very nice up this little side street, and then I realised actually it's a sort of advertisement for a cafe restaurant. That said, again, I'm going out of my way. I'm not in adventurous mode, am I? I'm in you're recuperating from a near-death situation mode. Okay, I know that's that's ridiculous to put it in those terms. You got a bit of a chesty cough and you don't want it to turn into bronchitis because you've got a history of quite seriously bad bronchitis, actually. Thought I'd shaken that vulnerability with my lungs, but yeah, maybe I'll fend this one off. Seems to be not getting any worse over the last couple of days in any case. That is actually not what I thought it might be. I thought it might be simply a canvas print of an advertisement, but to be fair to the restaurant, even though they're obscuring the artwork for some reason only known to themselves, it is worth looking at, isn't it? Some considerable skill gone into that. Shame to obscure half of it, but what do I know? It's not always about the beauty and the art and the appreciation. Sometimes it's about the commercial practicality of it all. I'm going to get back on track, I think. It was already a roundabout way type walkabout, and it's only going to make less and less sense, probably. Now, is this a sort of little Carrefour Express or similar? Could be, couldn't it? I'm half tempted to go in and half not. I'll tell you what, I'll go in looking for Hall's extra strong mints because they seem to be in short supply in Lviv, but this is the kind of place which might just have them. Let's go look-see. Lukabichka Express. It's worth looking in, I would say. Very small place, but you know what? The funny thing is, they managed to accommodate me with half of my shopping list. That is definitely a place to remember. Very handy because they've actually got a few things in there that the big supermarkets don't have. Funny how little independent shops can just surprise you like that sometimes, can't they? God blimey. It'll be the death of you, that cough. Not just yet, it won't. Boulevard Teatralna. That does make you think, oh, so maybe Google Maps was wrong and that performing arts theatre is right over no, that isn't it. Right over there. Oh, it could be. Could be, couldn't it? Let's have a closer look. This looks more like a shop, though. It's advertising soup. There's a heartfelt welcome in German. And it's advertising PNPT soup for only 5 hryvnia. Der Stahlhelm. Zaliczna Szapka. Pub. I wonder if this is the novelty World War II era pub I've heard about in the past. Never thought about going there myself and never sorted out. I could have just found it by mistake, or unless you're too lazy enough to double check my suggestion, you've just been very misinformed and been prepared to accept my really quite random guesswork. Definitely not the theatre, unfortunately, even though we're on Theatre Boulevard, there is an absence of theatre. We're back at the tail end of this big, impressive-looking religious structure, which isn't the Armenian cathedral. I didn't get any closer because there was a noticeably well-dressed young lady begging. Seemed highly implausible to me. Her appearance was at odds with her condition in the world, but who am I to say? I just felt kind of awkward, and I had to pass her to get up the steps to, well, she's on the steps, to get into the front door of the church. And as she prevented that being possible, I decided it's a sign. From the outside, it did look very, very dark in there, so maybe I'm not missing anything.